All right, Math 1, Unit 5B, Section 3, finding the slope from an equation. So all of the notes on here have linear equations, equations that make a line, and we're wanting to find the slope without actually having to graph the line. Now there's a couple different ways of doing this, but before we get into it, I want to talk about some forms of a line. We have slope-intercept form, slope, and general. Now, the one that we normally use, or the one that I normally use, is slope-intercept form. And normally you'll see that listed as y equals mx plus b, where m equals the slope and b is the y-intercept, right? So that's why it's called slope-intercept, because it has the slope and it has an intercept in there. So we can kind of see that if the equation is in this form, then really quickly we can say, well, right there is the slope. Right here is the slope. The coefficient of the x, the linear term, there's the slope. So that's slope-intercept form. That's the one that I would normally use. Yeah. Now next up, we have general form, and we're going to normally call it, what do we call it? Ax plus by equals c. Now we can kind of see that general form isn't a y equals, which sometimes can be kind of intimidating. The slope of a general form will always be, how do I want to write this? Slope equals, it's going to be negative a over b. So again, you can kind of take that general form and you can really quickly grab out what the slope is. Not quite as quickly as slope-intercept form, but it's still quickly, right? And the reasoning there is that if you do solve general form for y and make it look like slope-intercept form, you'll have a negative a over b in front of your x term. So that's how those are two forms of a line. But let's look at number one and we'll see what we can do. Well, number one has a y equals, so it's probably going to be in slope-intercept form. Let's look. We've got y equals negative x minus 1. Well, that is slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form, I'm just going to write here as y equals mx plus b. And we're wanting the slope, that's m. So right here we have a negative 1x. M is negative 1. So our slope is negative 1. And that's it. That's as easy as it can get. Let's look at number 2. Now again, number 2 is also in slope-intercept form because really we only have this negative 1/2 x, but we could say we have plus 0 at the end. So here would be our m and here would be our b. So m is negative 1/2, so our slope is negative 1/2. Right. Very quick, very easy answers. What's going to get a little bit more difficult is if we have to rearrange the equation like what we're going to have to later on. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 is actually in general form. So normally general form is ax plus by equals c. And let's look back up here. What did we say our slope is? Our slope is negative a over b. So we want slope equals negative a over b. So we could really quickly grab from here what our slope is, because here is, well, a is 1 and b is 5. So our slope is going to be negative 1 over 5. Now, if you wanted to, you could take this and you could solve for y. And if you solved for y, then you could put it into slope-intercept form and you could get the slope like that. Either way works. This is just kind of a shortcut to get there. All right, number 4. Again, this is in general form. I'm going to make this so where we can see our formula there. So here's a, here's b. So we want negative a over b, so negative 5, and then b is negative 4. Negative over negative gives me a positive, so 5 over 4. There we are. All right, second page. Number 5 looks like it's in general form, so we have a here and b there. Remember that we want negative a over b, so we're going to have negative 3 over 5. All right, number 6. Well, number 6 doesn't look like it's in any special form, right? Our x and our y aren't on the same side. We don't have a y equals, so we're going to have to rearrange this guy. And we could decide that we want to rearrange it to be in slope-intercept, or we could do it in general form. It doesn't really matter which one we do. You just have to pick one. The one that I think will be easier for this one will be just to put it in general form, because general form we just have to get this guy over here, and then we'd be done. So I'm going to subtract 5y from both sides. These guys cancel, and I get negative 6x minus 5y equals negative 15. This is in general form now. So I can just say, well, I want negative a over b. That's my slope. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to have this. Here's a, here's b. So I'm going to say, well, negative 6 over negative 5. Negative negative gives me positive, so 6 over negative 5. And then I can rewrite that as negative 6 over 5. And that's my slope. All right, that's number 6. Number 7. This one's actually in general form, but just so that we can see it, let's go ahead and put this into slope-intercept form. If we were to put this in slope-intercept form, we would want a y equals. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to add my y over the other side. So my y's here cancel, and I have 0 plus y is just y equals x, and that's it. This is actually called the parent function of a line. This is the most simple line that we can have, y equals x. So here's our 1, that's our m, and then plus 0, that's our b. So really quick, we can say, well, our slope is 1. All right, that's number 7. And for number 8, we can solve this to get into general or into slope-intercept form. I think the easier thing here would be to put it into slope-intercept form, because all that's wrong here is this negative 4. It needs to go over here, and then it would be in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. My 4's here cancel, and I get y equals x plus 4. So here's my m, and here's my b. M equals 1, and that's my slope. That's how we do these. Again, we need to scroll back up to the top and look at these notes here. This needs to be written down somewhere. You need to have written down that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and general form is ax plus by equals c. All right, that's it.